Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. We're just doing a little video here today. I'm just doing a little video here today. Hopefully you're watching it and enjoying it. Just sort of experimenting with an antenna. And if you've watched my other ham radio related video and you're now watching this one, you might be noticing a pattern. They're both about antennas. And that's not to say that everything I'm going to do is going to be about antennas, but I will come right out and admit I'm one of those people who believes that an antenna is probably the most important part of any station, because you're dealing with radio waves. So if you're going to hear anything, you got to have an antenna up, and if you want to transmit anything, you got to have an antenna up. And you can have all of the other equipment in the world, and you have the best receiver on the Sherwood list. You're not going to hear anything without an antenna. You have the biggest amp going, and if you key it up without an antenna hooked to it, you're just going to blow it up. So antennas are important, but I don't want anyone to think that that means, you know, you have to agonize and obsess over the antenna aspect of things. When it comes right down to it, get an antenna up in the air. Actually, the camera is right underneath of an InFET half wave. That's my main HF antenna here, and you can probably right over here see a set of guy wires that's going to a mast over there that's got my 11-meter antenna on it and my VHF UHF base. And so what you might ask, am I doing out here with my Go box and an FTM 300D? I'm playing with this antenna that I just made for $5, now maybe $10. I might have $10 in it. It's some 3D printed parts. I'll post a link to the 3D printed parts. The files have some plastic screws. Don't bother with the plastic screws. Get some, I know as people with 3D printers do, you'll probably have some screws sitting around. Get some, I used M5 is what the ones that kind of wanted to strip out pretty easy. I went ahead and threaded them out a little bit more and put some M5s in there. They're holding well. It's PVC and some aluminum rod. The print is designed to hold the aluminum rod on 1/2-inch PVC like this. I'll put a link to the Yagi calculator I used online to get the lengths and distances on everything. And I'm just using an old partially broken boom mic stand to hold the antenna up. You're probably not going to hear a whole lot. I've got the volume turned up here on the radio. The point of this antenna is, in the pinnacle of all geekiness, I am a storm spotter for NOAA, and so I like to be able to talk to the Middle Tennessee Emergency Amateur System. MTERS is what they call it, Middle Tennessee Emergency Amateur Radio System. That's it. And the repeater closest to me for that is 28 miles to the southeast. And I can get into it with the base antenna, but they say that there's some noise in there. The terrain's not ideal between here and there. So what I'm doing is just kind of waiting, listening. I know that this thing will hear, but there's not anything active going on right now. And that's where I'm tuned to. That's where this is tuned for. That's where it's pointed. It's a 442-800 server in Nashville. So 70 centimeter. Anyway, the numbers look pretty good on this. It doesn't mean that it's perfect, but I just wanted to make a few notes just to encourage people to do stuff like this, because this is 9 dB a gain. It'll make your 50 watts look like 300 watts, and that'll get you into a repeater, or it should. A couple of things. First of all, go over the numbers, make sure everything is right. Second, make sure you've got good contact on everything when you put it together. I tried for a while with the multimeter to get continuity on one of the terminals on this, and I couldn't get continuity on it, and I finally figured out that when I had threaded the threaded the screw in there to hold the element in to the mount, it had pushed up a piece of plastic, and so there was a piece of plastic in between the screw and the element. And so, and you don't want to, if anybody has experience with this firsthand, they know you don't want to key a radio up without a full load attached to it, the right load attached to it. It's a good way to blow the finals in it. So that said, kind of take every opportunity with a multimeter to go in there and check everything, make sure that everything, there's connections, everything's the way that it ought to be. You look at your loads, make sure everything looks good. But by all means, don't be afraid of experimenting. Just do it cautiously. I mean, it's one thing to say, well, yeah, if you don't have the right, the right load hooked up to the radio when you key it up, you can blow it up. I mean, you can. A couple of tips on that. Like I said, check the continuity on everything as you're building it. Make sure, even down to when you put your little, I've got a short piece of coax jumper here. It's not ideal coax. I'm getting a bunch of loss in that, I'm sure. When I put this antenna up somewhere permanently, I will put some LMR 400 on it, and I won't have to worry about that. But then start out with the radio on low power. Just see if it works. Grab a handy talkie. See if it works. Like I said, I know that this one receives, and I know that it transmits on low power. I'm not getting into the repeater because I don't think it's up high enough. I'm kind of pointed at the side of a hill pointing this direction, and I am pointed straight into a bunch of trees over here. It's fairly dense brush, and this ridge rises up, and then on the other side of it is Nashville. A little bit more elevation like I've got over here. I might put a pole over here on the house or something and point that direction because it gets me past a couple of more trees. I'll probably do that rather than putting it up on this mast somewhere. But anyway, play cautiously, but play by all means, because it's good to be a little bit obsessed with your antennas, because again, I think it's probably the most important thing. I think if you won the lottery or whatever, or you just said, hey, I've got $10,000 I want to spend on a shack, a lot of people would be like, well, I'm going to spend a couple $1,000, $4,000 on a radio and $4,000 on an amp or whatever, and spend the other $2,000 putting an antenna up. And I would say spend forget the amp, spend $2,000 on a radio and put everything else into the antenna, and go from there. But that's just me. It's been said many times, and it'll be said many times again. The best antenna is the one that gets you on the air. So if you don't have an antenna up and you're thinking about building one to try something, build one. Like this thing is so easy to build. I built it with one good hand. So it's not hard to do. Experiment. That's kind of what ham radio as a hobby is all about. And then you can get to do fun things like set up in your front yard, and your cats can come visit you. I got a whole go box out here, a couple solar panels, and what can I say? It probably looks funny to the neighbors. You're not really close enough to see me anyway. But have fun with it. Play when you get the opportunity. That's what I'm doing right now. We got a beautiful day here in Middle Tennessee. Real, bluebird day, blue skies. It's supposed to be almost 70 degrees today. Light breeze. Honeybees are out. It's awesome. I'm enjoying being outside, playing with this and making this video for y'all. So, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. If you want to know more about the Go Box, there's a ton of videos about Go Boxes. I kind of almost feel silly saying, well, I'll make a video about my Go Box at some point, but I think my Go Box probably makes a valid point about Go Boxes, so I might do it. But anyway, folks, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's encouraged somebody to go try and build an antenna, or try and make a dipole out of some coax, or whatever you got to do, because you don't have to have anything but some coax to make a dipole. Just get some 50 ohm coax and separate the the core and the shield out and stretch them out at the right height, and hook it up to your antenna analyzer, and get it where it's on the frequency you want it, and go for it. There are measurements all over the internet to do stuff like that. I've got one that I carry with me for a CB radio when I travel. Just toss a dipole up and talk. But that sort of thing is that's what the hobby of radio is all about, and it's about having fun and trying things. Just don't blow up anything expensive while you're trying it. Make sure you test stuff. I can't say that enough. Continuity, it's real easy to check the things that can really cause damage. So just test things before you hook a radio up to it and try and run it, and have fun with it. Get out and play some radio. Thank you for watching. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, all of those things, and maybe not at a rapid pace, but a little bit at a time. There will be some more videos. Hopefully y'all find them helpful and enjoy them. Have a good one.